Welcome to Mind Pilot. This is your host, Dr. Jana Price-Sharps. I hope you think about subscribing after you listen to what we're talking about today. Today, we're going to talk about a topic that may seem really weird, but it seems to come up a lot, so thought it might be helpful. The refrigerator just doesn't matter. The dishwasher doesn't matter. How you squeeze the toothpaste doesn't matter. It is amazing how people get very hyper-focused on very specific details in the home, and it creates a tremendous amount of angst, arguments, anger, frustration. So here's a typical scenario, probably more from fire personnel than law enforcement, but it's the same kind of argument that I see across the board with first responders. The first responders been working long hours. They're tired. They haven't been sleeping. First warning sign, right? When you don't sleep, you're cranky. I'm cranky. Everybody in the world is cranky. When we don't sleep, we get grumpy. Then everything irritates us. Now, if you're already really heated up, you're already full of adrenaline, you're already full of cortisol, and then you come home, maybe you've put in a very long shift, and you open the refrigerator, and there's old food in there, there's rotting food in there, there's no favorite soda of yours in there. There's, a couple spills that haven't been cleaned up. I have seen people go from 0 to 1,000 about the refrigerator. And then the next 2 days, they're not speaking to their spouse, or their spouse more likely is not speaking to them because they had this huge argument about the refrigerator. Now, you can say to me, Jana, but it was horrible. I looked in and it was terrible and everything was out of place and there were spills and there was old food. I get that. But would you rather just help them clean it up? Or would you rather have a really crappy several days off? That really is the crux of the question, right? Do you want a happy time off, or do you want to really get into it about the refrigerator, or how the dishes are put in the dishwasher, or how the dishes are put away, or how the bathroom looks, or a myriad of other things that couples tend to get into terrible fights about? And is it really worth it? And you're probably going to hear over time me say this many times in this podcast, but I often have people ask me, how do you have a good marriage? Because I just celebrated my 28th anniversary with my husband, Dr. Matthew Sharps. And I can tell you, he is the most important person in my life, and I love him dearly. But I can tell you this, he is unfailingly nice to me. And I try really hard to be unfailingly nice to him. I don't live up to those standards, but I try really hard. Because when you're nice to each other, and then somebody has a day where they're grumpy, then you have some deposits in that relationship bank account. And so people are more likely to forgive. But if the refrigerator, every time you come home from work, you're mad about that, it's not going to help that bank account. In fact, you're probably going to go into negative balance, okay? And there isn't going to be anything left, right? One of the things we hear all the time from kids of first responders, my dad hates me, my mom hates me. And again, we tell them, no, sweetie, your mom or dad doesn't hate you. They have a very stressful job, and they have a lot of adrenaline in their system, and it really does impact the way they respond to you. So I want you to really think about, when was the last time you got mad at your spouse or significant other? What did you get mad about? And was it really worth it? Now, there's some things, I get it. Okay. They had an affair. All right. They drained the bank account. Okay. I get that there's some things that need to be addressed. But there's other things that really, really honestly don't matter. And so you have to take that step back and ask, okay, what is going on with me? Well, I'm tired. I came off a very hard shift. I've worked a lot of overtime. I have a ton of adrenaline in my system. I'm just exhausted. Is it really the refrigerator, or am I exhausted? Is it really the dishwasher, or am I just mentally worn out? Ask yourself those questions. And if you are, then let your significant other or spouse know that, maybe before you get home. Maybe you send a text and say, hey, I love you. I am just beat. When I get home, can we just watch a movie and then I want to go to bed early? I am just exhausted. Have those discussions rather than walk in adrenalized and you're mad and then you start a fight about the refrigerator. Because you know what? Unless you have cockroaches crawling all over the refrigerator doesn't really matter. You can always clean it up. But your marriage, your kids, your family, those are the ones that matter. Because when you retire, those are the ones that are going to be there. The people you work with, within 1 or 2 years, that department isn't even going to remember who you are. I'm not saying that to be mean, but that isn't your support system. Your support system is at home. Take care of that support system, because you don't want to be alone when you go through all of this and get to retirement. You want to have the people who love you and care about you around. Take good care of them. And in the meantime, forget about the refrigerator, okay? This is Dr. Jana Price-Sharps with Mind Pilot. I hope you subscribe. You have the right to have a happy life. Have a great day.